What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Revival. My name is JJ, and let's talk Game Boy. So, man, I have so many memories with the original Game Boy. This is another collection video, by the way. I'm sure you can tell by the title and whatnot, but just to put that out there. So my mom is from overseas. She's from the Netherlands. And when I was a kid, we would go there from probably like once every 2-3 years over the summer, and I would be there for like 9 weeks at a time. And a lot of times what I'd do is I'd bring my Game Boy. And I have memories of just being out there while everybody else was, like eating and drinking and hanging out and stuff like that. And like, I can speak Dutch, but I'm not super fluent, so it's really hard for me to keep really, really deep conversations at all. Like, good thing most of them are really, really good at English. So, because that's how I normally get by. But I just remember always having my Game Boy with me, no matter where we went. That way, if, the adults wanted to go and talk and so, I'm an only child, so it's not like I had brothers or sisters to hang out with. And if I was at, one of my aunts or uncles where cousins weren't around or, something like that, I really just kind of had to hang out. And so having my Game Boy with me was just stellar. And it was great. So over the years, I've accumulated a few games, and I don't know if this is going to end up being 1 or 2 videos, but we'll find out. You will know just by the title, because it'll say Part 1, or it'll say just Game Boy Collection. This does include Game Boy and Game Boy Color. I went ahead and just lumped them together because they're all, they look the same, and why not? And I think I've done a boxed Game Boy Collection video, I'm pretty sure. So some of these you've seen before and everything, and that's going to be included in here as well, but this is like all my loose ones too. And because it's kind of tough to see the little cartridges when I hold them up, what I'll try to do is when I edit, I'll put the box art on the screen so you can see it. One little side thing, I actually had more than these. Unfortunately, so I think I've told this on the show before. Like I said, my mom is from overseas, and one year, this was probably like maybe right when I was a teenager or right before it, something like that. My mom had asked me and said, like, hey, your cousin just got a Game Boy overseas, and he doesn't have a lot of games. You have so many, and you're playing all this other stuff. Would you be okay if we sent him a few to play for, a few months, and then he'll send them back afterwards and stuff? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. Sure. So she sent I don't know, I want to say maybe 6-7 games to him over there, and unfortunately they got lost in the mail, so it just really sucks that I'm missing a few. To be honest with you, and I'm not like bitter about it or anything. It just sucks, because nobody can control that. What was she gonna do? It's not like she did it on purpose. But it's more like Kirby, I know, is in there. There was an NFL football game in there that I really liked, and a few other games that I have gotten back, like Zelda, RC Pro Am, Tetris, that kind of thing. But yeah, it was just heartbreaking knowing that a bunch of my games got lost in the mail. But it is what it is. So hopefully I can get some of the ones that I remember having, but not that I don't have anymore, reaccumulated when I go to conventions, game stores, that kind of thing. So I'm always on the lookout for any of those games. Ninja Turtles was another one that I had, and I really liked that one too. So it is what it is. What are you gonna do? So let's get started. I'll start with this stack first here, because it's got the least amount of boxed copies. So first up is a game that, well, I would say probably most of these don't really need an introduction. But I mean, you know how I do it. I always kind of give my own anecdotes and personal stories that go along with this stuff. And Dr. Mario is no different. While I played most of this on the NES, the fact that I loved it on the NES so much just meant that I needed to get it on the Game Boy because I wanted to play it more. This is just comes from those days of simple puzzle games where you would get a game not because you wanted a super deep gaming experience, but just because you wanted to have fun. You wanted to go in there and you wanted to try and get as many levels beaten as you could, and just have fun playing a video game. And that was it. And that's really what this kind of a game does for me. And I still love Dr. Mario to this day. When I go back east and I, with my cousins back there, and my step-grandmother has the NES set up in their basement still, because she still plays Dr. Mario, Tetris, that kind of thing. We still have Dr. Mario, competitions where we go back and forth and stuff, and it's always fun to revisit those games. So yeah, I love that game. Always will. Next up, Super Mario Land. If I'm not mistaken, this came with the system. And very different from the other Mario games. And I know I don't know it off the top of my head, but I know there's some history as to why that is. I'm pretty sure I've seen a few videos on it online. But this is not your typical Mario game. It's a lot tougher for one, but you also get different vehicles, and it's just very, very non-NES. But in some ways it is. I mean, it's still side-scrolling. You're still going through levels and stuff like that. It's just a very, very different setting, and the gameplay is tougher, in my opinion. But still a fun game nonetheless. Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. Adrian, if you're watching this, man. You know how long I wanted this one for. I had been hunting for this for so long, and I'm pretty sure I brought this up when I did a pickups video after one of our Retropalooza. I think it was last year, when I finally found it, and I had been on the hunt for it for several years prior. It's not an uncommon game. Like, it's from what I understand, fairly common, but I had just never seen it out in the wild, no matter what. Anytime I would go like a convention or something like that, I'd ask and say, they'd be like, what are you looking for? And be like, oh, Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins on Game Boy. Oh man, we just sold it like 10 minutes ago. And that was always the case. They always had sold it like prior to me getting there. And it was just like, oh man, because it's not like, I think I paid $10 for it, if that. It's not like expensive. It's not super rare. It's just, for me, it was really hard to find for some reason. I don't get it. That being said, I still have not played it. But I really, really would like to, and I'm super excited to, because I just, it's Mario, and of course I want to play it. So, that anytime I look at that, I always smile, because I'm just like, oh man, I finally got you. I'm a dork, I know. Next is the first Castlevania I ever actually played, and that's Castlevania Adventure on the Game Boy. Never made it very far, to be honest, and it's another really tough game. A lot of the Game Boy games are so tough, man, especially with that little screen. And do you remember that? Any of you that are like the older crowd and you had a Game Boy, do you remember like the game light that was on top, and that was like you would like slide it in over the top and everything? I don't have that. But I do have my original Game Boy still, and a Game Boy Pocket, which I'll get to that. But I just remember like thinking that was the coolest and craziest thing, being able to play your Game Boy at night because you had this light on there. Because if you've ever played the original Game Boy, it's all in like black and white, but it's like kind of a greenish screen. And so it's not like, it's really hard to see unless you've got a good light source near you. So to have this thing that hooked on to the actual system itself was really neat to be able to just add that light. And that's what I remember from Castlevania Adventure, is using that to play this game quite a bit. Just because, I don't know, it just happened to be in the dark, and for some reason I just always connect the two in my head. Still never made it very far. It's not like the light helped me. I may as well have been playing in the dark, because I was terrible at the game. But it is. I do have some fun memories just, trying it at least. Next one, come on. Tetris, man. Freaking Tetris. Again, it's just like Dr. Mario. Back to a day, this is the best-selling game of all time. And it's for good reason. It still, to this day, holds up really well. It's just a fun puzzle game that you can just hop into, see how many levels you can get through, and just play and just have fun. Whether it's with people, whether it's by yourself, anything like that. It's just, I don't know anybody who says, oh my gosh, I hate Tetris, this is the worst game ever. Even if you're not like, it doesn't have to be your favorite game or anything like that, but I don't know that anybody considers Tetris a bad game. If you do, then it's like, come on, really? Do you think you objectively think it's a bad game? Like, Tetris is just so solid, you know? So I always, you know what, now that I think about it, I think this came with the original system and not Mario Land. I think Mario Land came separately. Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody correct me. Somebody tell me what if I'm right or not. I don't know, either way. Next, shockingly, is another game that I haven't played. And that is Wario Land. I honestly don't even remember, like, when I got it. I just know I've had it for so long and still haven't played it. I may have popped it in, like, once or twice. But I genuinely don't remember hardly anything about it other than just seeing it and being like, oh, it's another Mario-ish game. And picking it up because of that. I definitely need to, because, man... the decals and the box art on this stuff, man, I could... box art is... I need to make a video on box art, because, man, I just love seeing that stuff. That's probably a big reason I'm a collector, is because I love seeing the stuff on my shelf. I like being able to take the stuff down, looking at it, and just seeing it, especially with Nintendo stuff. It's always so colorful and vibrant and just beautiful to look at. So yeah. And this, I love this cover. It's got Wario's big old goofy face on it, and then just colors and characters, and it just looks great. I don't know if it is, playing wise, maybe. Could be. But it looks really cool. So, next three we'll do together. I'm sure you can tell by the colors what these are. We got Pokemon Blue, Red, and Yellow. So, this is what I was laughing about earlier when I was mentioning my Game Boy and how I also had a Game Boy Pocket. Because I did a video a while ago about how I didn't know anybody that played these games, and so I bought both copies and got another Game Boy and had to trade with myself in order to get all 150 on Pokemon Blue. Pokemon Blue was the first game that I ever put an insane amount of hours in. And it was about, I think when all was said and done, I had about 90 hours, 85 to 90 hours clocked in, which back then was unheard of, at least for me. Nowadays, you know, there are a handful of games that I can say I did that with. You know, the Persona games tend to do that to me. Skyrim, obviously, you know, that kind of thing. But, like, this was the first one that I can remember just being like, man, I played this so much, and it's because I wanted to do everything. I wanted to catch everything and just be I wanted to be a Pokemon master. So, but it's yeah, I love this series in general, and when I found that I still had Blue and Red in boxes, I obviously got Yellow, I picked that up just because I was like, may as well complete the trilogy, but I got that used, so I didn't get the box with it. Would like to get a box for it eventually. But I was so happy when I saw that I had the boxes for these, because, man, just looking at these brings back so many memories. And I love these games so much. You will never ever convince me that there's another generation of Pokemon better than Gen 1. And that's a lot of nostalgia built in there and stuff like that. And it's totally a personal choice. You know, I know a lot of people consider Gen 2, and it doesn't even matter, because everybody likes their own thing. But for me, Gen 1 will always be the best, hands down. I love just that original 151 that you're just trying to collect. And that it was simple, nice and sweet, and I just loved it. I loved it. So, for sure. Next, Golden Cartridge. What's that? Zelda, Link's Awakening. I've made it super far in this, but I have not finished it. I did, however, finish the remake on the Switch, which I loved. It was really, really good. So, I don't know that I'll ever go back and play the original and finish it. Zelda games tend to be ones that once I beat them, I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm done with it. That's about it. And I just leave it alone from then on. But I really, really enjoyed the remake, and I remember having fun with this as well. But I played this back when there was no, like... I didn't have a lot of ways to, you know, find out how to do things. I didn't know a lot of people that played this, that kind of thing. So my options were limited to basically me trying to figure everything out on my own. And I'm not the smartest guy in the world. So I kind of got stuck. So that's what happened. Yeah. But great game nonetheless, and if you do want to ever try this and you don't want to play the original, I highly recommend the remake as well. It's gorgeous and fun, and it's just a blast. So, yeah, Link's Awakening. And I think I am going to split this up into 2 videos, actually. So the last one is Game Boy Color game that I still have in the plastic wrap because I have not taken it out, obviously. And that's Deja Vu 1 and 2. I actually picked this up. I don't know much about it other than it's like a, I think it's like a point and click kind of adventure game where you're, you know, trying to solve a case or something like that. And I believe I found it through the Is It Worth It podcast. Blaine on there was talking about this, and he happened to mention that he had gotten it on Amazon for, I think it was like $25 or something like that, and it came with both games, and still brand new, pristine condition. He was like, yeah, I think there's like 2 or 3 copies left if anybody's listening to this and wants to jump on it. So I was like, sure, I'll take a sealed game. So I hopped on Amazon. Sure enough, there were a couple left, and I picked it up, and now I have it. So I think it sounds kind of intriguing. So and you know, it's obviously 2 games in one. So yeah, I think it sounds kind of neat. So that's how I got this, and I honestly, I'll probably bust it open at some point and play it. Because I have no, I'm not planning on playing it anytime soon. Why not just leave it in the packaging for right now? You know, keep it in better shape and whatnot. So that's that. So next week we'll knock out those. Yeah, I love the Game Boy, as I said. So thanks for watching, and tune in next week for the rest of these here. And like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. You know the drill. You've been to YouTube. I say that every time. And as always, keep on gaming.